This is Jamal Hassan from the Voice Studio in Washington, D.C., USA. Welcome to Jamal Hassan Show. The voice is your voice. Today, our guest is Sharjil Nishat. We have interviewed him twice before, and Sharjil is a social activist based in Toronto, Canada. Welcome to my show, Sharjil Nishat.
Thank you for having me, Mr. Hassan.
Okay, our topic is loaded today. Conflict in Iran and Sunni Shia divide or Shia Sunni divide. I start my monologue. Sharjil, you may be very much aware of the lady named Shamima Begum, whose parents are from Bangladesh. She's a British citizen. At the age of 15, she left UK to join ISIS in Syria. And definitely it was a Sunni jihadi outfit, ISIS. Not only that, we know the 9/11 hijackers, they're all of Sunni persuasion and mostly from Saudi Arabia. These 9/11 hijackers, some of them, resided in a Virginia area temporarily, and they visited some Sunni mosque, Dar al-Hijra in Virginia. It was well documented. And you may be aware of another religious preacher named Aulad Aulaki, who is an American citizen, who we used to give sermons on YouTube and also online. And he was responsible for brainwashing many American young Muslims. And Aulad Aulaki was killed by President Obama while he was in Yemen. This is also Sunni jihadist. Not only that, if we talk about the paintball jihadists in Virginia, they were practicing paintball attacks, and actually their motive was to kill as many infidels in America. So those are also of Sunni sect. Yosef Bodansky was the director of the Congressional Task Force on Terrorism and Unconventional Warfare of the US Congress from 1988 to 2004. I happen to know him when he was in charge of this task. In 2000, Mr. Bodansky, I think he was speaking before a journalist in Toronto, and he said that many of the American mosques were dominated by Islamic jihadis. And that created uproar among some Sunni propagandist groups like CARE and others. So my point is that what we see, Sunni jihadis had a tendency to globalize the jihadi program. Many Sunni mosques in America were even involved somehow with the jihadi projects. Not a single Shia mosque in America or in any other Western country was involved in any kind of jihadi conspiracy. So why this situation is basically, should we say that only Sunni people are prone to jihadism and Shias are peace-loving? What's your take, Mr. Nishat?
Well, it is kind of a loaded question. Well, it is very true that traditional Sunni Muslims are more prone to jihadism than Shia Muslims. The thing is, Shia Muslims outside of Iran are mostly pacifistic, I would say. And Iran is more of a complicated matter, because thing is, as I've said earlier, that the regime in Iran has basically co-opted Muslim Brotherhood ideology into their ethos and in their ideology. And well, let's not forget that Salman Rushdie was stabbed by a Shia. I believe he was of Lebanese descent. He's American, but he was of Lebanese descent. And the thing is, Sunnis. The difference between the Sunnis and Shias is not just about as people say, it's just about leadership and politics. It's more than that. There's differences in beliefs, in narratives, in practices, and also what and also in history as well. Um, what is in Sunni Islam, the certain central figures that are viewed as heroes, they're actually villains in Shia Islam. Especially, and when I say Shia Islam, I mean specifically 12er Shia Islam. Yes, and yeah, so Shias don't believe that the Al-Aqsa Mosque that's mentioned in the Quran is in Jerusalem. They don't believe that, and I remember seeing in a video interview on YouTube with he's an Iraqi American journalist. Who also happened to be a Shia Muslim. His name is Hussein. Oh God, I forgot. Let me just verify that.
No problem.
Okay. Okay. One moment. Sorry. So sorry about this. Hussein Abdul Hussein. So sorry about that. Yeah, he said that Prophet Muhammad made his nightly journey to Kufa. This is what they, as Shias, believe. Whereas the Sunnis believe that he made his journey to Jerusalem and then to the heavens. So there is not only a difference in belief, but also a difference in narrative. And also there's a.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Sorry. Oh, go ahead.
Whatever Hussein Abdul Hussein said in one interview.
Yeah.
Why this information is not well circulated? Because this is the news to me too.
It was news to me as well. That is a very good question. Why is this not circulated very well? In fact, like I said, the regime's ideology in Iran, I would say it's more of a heresy, because this regime has been doing nothing but appeasing the Sunni Islamists, and hence it has been funding, organizations like Hamas, Islamic Jihad, and many others, and as well as, of course, Shia jihadists like Hezbollah and the Houthis in Yemen. The Houthis are, by the way, they're not 12er Shias; they are Zaidi Shias, which is a totally different branch. Yes, and yeah, there's also, like I said, there's also a difference in what do you call historicity and history and historiography between the two sects, and of course there's differences in practices. The way Shias pray, Sunnis don't pray the same way. And now, if you ask me honestly, which would be the right sect, since since I'm a Baha'i and I'm an ex-Muslim myself, but also an ex-Sunni Muslim. I say the Shia sect would be the right sect of Islam. Even as we Baha'is, recognize the 12er Shia sect as the true sect of Islam. Yeah. So when I became a Baha'i, I had to unlearn and relearn a lot of about Islam, especially Shia Islam. And I was actually very not only surprised, I was very shocked to learn all these revealing details. Yes.
Good point. And now I have a lot of questions actually. Or
yes.
Anybody who is curious about Islamic history would be curious and curious and curious about the quote unquote original sin committed by which sect to divide the Muslim group of the world, I say, or the Muslim population of the world. Talking about the rift between Hazrat Ali and Hazrat Aisha, the Caliph Ali and Prophet Muhammad's wife Aisha. And we know there are many from the narratives in Islamic tradition. I'm not talking about Orientalist or Western imperialists, quote unquote. They are, talking points. I'm talking about from Islamic tradition. It's mentioned that one time Aisha was found with a unknown man and on a horseback and something, and Ali was basically was outraged, and he suggested Prophet Muhammad to divorce Aisha. Not only that, in some I think scriptures, secondary or tertiary scripture, I found from Islamic sources that Ali even suggested to stone Aisha to death. I think you may be aware of it. Like for
This
adultery.
I did not know. This I did not know. But
Yeah, yeah,
I was aware that
yeah.
Imam
But
Ali did
yeah,
recommend Prophet Muhammad to divorce
yeah.
Aisha. You're right about that.
Many observers or analysts might think that the rift between Shiaism and Sunnism might have started from that, that
No.
particular event. But we knew that, there were Ali and Aisha were at odds. Always they are not in good terms. And the Battle of Camel, we know that. The Battle of
Yeah.
Camel, and we knew that two of the henchmen of Aisha were killed by Ali's people, but Ali somehow forgave Aisha. But after that, Aisha sort of went to recluse, and she was not very, basically very much of activist. But if you talk about the tradition of basically the prophet's legacy, if you say maintaining, even talk about if you just go back to the days of the prophet's grandson Hassan and Hussein, they were basically assassinated or killed by the Muawiyah's son Yazid, and we knew that Hassan and Hussein are more revered by the Shia people than Sunnis. And in Iraq, there are shrines of those two, grandsons of Prophet. But what we see,
Of Hussein, yes, it's in Iraq, but Hassan is in Medina. Yeah.
oh Hassan, but nobody. So in see, I'm sorry for this factual mistake
No
error,
worries. No worries.
but I don't know if anybody even knows, if anybody cares about Hassan's any tomb in Medina. But we know Hussein's shrine in Iraq is a place of pilgrimage in a sense. So what we see, Prophet's descendants were well revered by Shias, but Sunnis were more busy in building up caliphates. Why is it so, Mr. Nishat?
Well, this is all political because thing is, like I said, the central figures that are who are revered among in Sunni Islam, they are villains in Shia Islam. Like you mentioned, Aisha, and I'd like to mention two others that are that whom Shias hate with a passion: Abu Bakr and Omar bin al-Khattab, who were the first and the second caliphs after the death of Muhammad. Uh, Now, regarding um, the split in Islam, I would say I would argue that the split of Islam did not happen after during the prophet during the prophet's death. It did not happen after the prophet's death, as many historians would like to claim, especially during the battle between Ali and Muawiyah. I would say the split of Islam happened during the prophet's own lifetime. In fact, it happened 4 days before uh, his death, uh, which happened on the 24th of Safar, uh, 11 year 11 of the Hijra calendar, which is in the Gregorian calendar, it is 24th of May, 632 AD. So what happened at that time was the prophet was in his deathbed, and he asked his companions to give him a paper and a pen, so that he would leave them behind a will, so that they don't go astray. And so when Omar heard that, um, he said, the man is delirious. And in other sources, I remember reading that, he's under the spell of pain. We have the book of God, which is enough for all of us. So the prophet was very upset hearing that. He told everyone to leave him alone. So so I would say the split happened right on that day. And I was told by my fellow Baha'is that that was not only the split of Islam, that was the split of Islam that happened when Umar bin al-Khattab, the second caliph, said Hasnata Kitabullah, which means the book of God is enough for both of us. Because thing is, because the Prophet said even earlier at an event in Ghadir Hum, where he when and where he appointed Ali as his rightful successor. He said, I'm leaving behind two weighty things: the book of God, the Holy Quran, and the Ahlul Bayt, which means his household. And Ali would be the first Imam and the 12th Imam. There will be 12 Imams after him. Ali would be the first, and the 12th one would be the Mahdi. And so, as long as both of them are followed, people won't go astray. And so you can imagine why Prophet Muhammad was very mad that time and asked everyone to leave him. And because thing is, the book of God is not enough for the whole Muslim community. You need the Ahlul Bayt, because Ali was the first male Muslim when we look at history, and hence the second Muslim, because the first Muslim was Khadija. And he was the bravest and the fighter and a soldier, and also since he was the closest to Prophet Muhammad, so that's why he was the most knowledgeable.
And also Ali happened to be the first cousin of Prophet Muhammad, and
yes,
also the son-in-law of Prophet Muhammad.
Absolutely, that's in fact that's why the Prophet gave his daughter's hand in marriage to Ali and no one else. Yes, so I would say the Sunnis would be like the caliphs, that is Abu Bakr and Omar. They're basically the usurpers. The same applies to what do you call Aisha as well, because
In this case, Mr. Sharjil Nishad, I know some Shia scholars might point fingers to Aisha for the sudden death of the Prophet Muhammad.
Oh yes, yes.
And in this case, I'm not quoting any Shia source. I'm quoting Sahih Bukhari, chapter 6, 8, 9, 7. And here you can read between the lines. Narrated Aisha, we poured medicine into the mouth of Allah's apostle during his illness, and he pointed out to us, intending to say, don't pour medicine to my mouth. We thought that his refusal was out of the aversion a patient usually has for medicine. When he improved and felt a bit better, he said to us, didn't I forbid you to pour medicine to my mouth? We said, we thought because of the aversion one usually have for medicine. Allah's apostle said, there is none of you but will be forced to drink medicine, and I will watch you, except Al-Abbas, for he did not witness this act of yours. So recently I saw the movie Lady of Heaven, and it was also a very controversial movie which was banned in Iran and many of the Muslim majority countries. In this movie, they also indicated it was like basically from the point of view of Fatima, the daughter of Muhammad and wife of Ali. And so it was like Aisha was somehow responsible for Prophet Muhammad's sudden death. Can you explain a bit on this subject? Mr. Nishad, I'm asking you. Can you explain exactly whether there was any historical basis or any substance, about who done who? I mean, being a detective, like Sherlock Holmes, who is responsible for Prophet's sudden death or quote unquote murder? I think you are frozen. I mean, I'm sorry. Mr. Nishad, you are frozen. So anyway, we continue. If Mr. Sharjil Nisat comes back, when we talk about assassinated caliphs, like three of them belong to Caliph Rashidun, or we call Rashidun Caliph, and they were Hazrat Ali, Hazrat Usman, and Hazrat Umar. Other than these three caliphs, other people who were assassinated, the caliphs, were Al-Amin, Hassan ibn Ali, Al-Muhtadi, Al-Mustarshid, Al-Mutawakkil, Al-Rashid Billah, Selim III, and Al-Walid II. So we have in total 11 Islamic caliphs were assassinated. It's a very tragic situation. So what we see in a Sunni world, although it's a very political religion, or it turned out to be a political Sunni Islam, but there are, instances of violence also. So which is very unfortunate. And right now, what I was discussing with Sharjil Nishat, that how on earth the Shia Islam became violent. And Sharjil Nishat has given one answer. The answer could be the Khomeinism, when Imam Khomeini of New Iran under Islamic doctrine, that they tried to borrow certain negative aspects from the Sunni people. The one was jihad. So, and one, could be, one explanation could be that borrowing from the leaves of Muslim Brotherhood. Muslim Brotherhood is a Sunni Islamic jihadi outfit with a global reach. So Khomeini and his successor Khamenei of Iran, they have been following the path of Muslim Brotherhood since the outset of, let me talk to Sharjil. Sharjil, sorry. You lost it totally. Okay. So you are not trying to get back the connection, or can you come back to the... Can you get through your phone? Just no, try it, and then we okay. We are trying to get Sharjil because he lost his connection when we were on the volatile subject. Okay, so let us see if we can get back. Otherwise, I can do this thing also. Maybe one aspect, that if Mr. Dastagir Jahangir or Lopa can come as a guest, and we can exchange views. So we can continue for a few more minutes. Sharjil lost his connection totally when we were in a very important subject of Shia-Sunni divide. So Mr. Dastagir Jahangir, you are most welcome if you want to come on the show. Actually, he's asking me to continue. Yeah. One divide, as I see, of course, in regard to the treatment of the Imams, the Sunnis or Shias got. Sunni, if you say Sunni, they have Imams like Malik, Shafi, Hanbal, and Hanafi. Sunnis would say they were persecuted during the Umayyad or Abbasid dynasty. On the other hand, Shias say that there 12 Shia Imams were persecuted during those dynasties. I'm talking about Umayyad and Abbasid dynasty. Give me a second. Yes, Sergio. Oh, Dastagir, Sharjil help Sharjil to get on the screen.
Oh, here.
Okay,
Oh my
okay.
goodness.
So we had a serious mishap. I'm sorry, suddenly, it happened. But
maybe the IRGC is trying to get us.
as we said, we shows continued. So, Sharjil, when you were away, I talked about the assassination of 11 caliphs. That out of the 11
imams, 11 imams.
No, they were caliphs, not imams. I'm talking about they were caliphs to some extent. Like I gave the name Ali, Al Amin, Hassan ibn Ali, Al Muhtadi, Al Mustarshid, Al Mutawakkil, Al Rashid Billah, Selim 3, Umar, Usman, and Al Walid 2. So out of the 11, 3 were Rashidun, like Ali, Umar, and Usman. We call it Khulafai Rashidun. Other 8 were other caliphs of certain, but they had, certain, what I call it, areas of governance. But they were caliphs to some extent. You can go and you can find that. I'm not talking about imams. Imams were a different story. And I said also when I was giving my own 2 cents, like Sunni, if you say Sunni imams like Malik, Shafi, Hanbal, and Hanafi, and Shias, the 12ers,
Yeah.
The Sunnis would say that there are 4, imams or jurists, if you call them. Some people may call them jurists.
Yeah.
They were persecuted during Umayyad and Abbasid dynasty.
Yes.
But the Sunnis, claim. But Shias also say there are 12 imams or the jurists were also persecuted during those 2 dynasties. Do you have any comment on that?
Okay. Yeah, you're absolutely right. The Shia imams, they're not just jurists, they're leaders of their community, because the main jurist would be the 6th Imam Jafar Sadiq, and I'll come to that.
Yes, right.
Yeah, so regarding the Sunni, what do you call the imams of the 4 major Sunni madhabs or schools of thought, let's go one by one. Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal of the Hanbali school, he was a student of Imam Shafi of the Shafi school, and Imam Shafi was a student of Imam Malik of the Maliki school. Okay, and Imam Malik and Imam Abu Hanifa, they were both students of Imam Jafar Sadiq, who was the 6th Imam of the Shias, mainly the 12 Shias, and even of the Ismaili Shiaism as well. So now okay. Before I answer your question, now I'd like to ask everyone an honest question. So who would you which sect would be the right sect here? Because the thing is, these 4 because all these 4 major schools of thought, they all trace their their intellectual roots from Imam Jafar Sadiq. Imam Jafar Sadiq was the son of Imam Muhammad Bakir, the 5th Imam. Imam Muhammad Bakir was the son of Imam Zainul Abidin, the 4th Imam. Imam Zainul Abidin was the son of Imam Hussein, who was martyred in Karbala, the 3rd Imam. And Imam Hussein and Imam Hassan was the 2nd Imam. And both Imam Hassan and Hussein were the sons of Imam Ali, who was the 1st Imam. So now, who would you follow, the student or the master here? That's the question I'd like to ask everyone. Now, you are right. Even what do you call the 4 thinkers of the 4 madhabs, of the Sunni madhabs, they were not only persecuted, they were even killed by the Umayyad and Abbasid caliphates. Now, thing is, the Sunnis don't see the Umayyad and Abbasid caliphates the way Shias do, like in very negatively. They just see that this just happened in history. It is what it is. There's nothing we can do about that.
Sorry to interrupt. Sorry. In this case, I would say we know that Umayyad sort of elevated the status of Umar, Caliph Umar, isn't it so? So in a sense, Umayyad dynasty or Abbasid dynasty, to some extent, helped the cause of Sunni narrative. If I say,
well, you're right. Well, they are essentially, Sunni dynasties. But regarding Omar, I'm not sure about that. But a thing is, Omar is the center of many, many controversies. Yeah, because thing is, Shias blame him for the, for the death of Bibi Fatima's child while he was in he was in the womb. His the son's name is, let me see. Oh God.
anyway, we understand. Anyway, so this Fatima's child, you are saying, Fatima's son.
Yeah, yeah. His name is yeah, Muhsin ibn Ali. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he was killed when Omar tried to break her house down, and the wood from the door attacked her belly, and hence she died. This is mentioned in the movie The Lady of Heaven. And interestingly enough, Mr. Hassan, before joining this show, I was watching the movie just to get more inspiration.
Oh, Lady of Heaven. Okay,
The Lady of Heaven.
Talking about as you talk on blame game. You mentioned the blame game.
Yeah.
How about some of the Sunnis would say Caliph Osman's killers were supporters of Ali?
Well, that may be true, because Uthman, during the Caliphate of Uthman, from the best of my knowledge, that's when all the mess started happening. So so the Shias don't view the Caliphate of Uthman that very positively, but not as negatively that of Abu Bakr and Omar, because and also Uthman was also from the Umayyad dynasty, so there's no good reason to view him positively. Yeah, and I'd like to mention more about Abu Bakr. He basically usurped Ali's position as the rightful successor in Islam after Muhammad, because not only he usurped Ali's position, he also took what we call Fatima's inheritance, which Muhammad left for her. And in fact, when she went to claim her her inheritance from Abu Bakr. Abu Bakr, said, "Oh, I heard the Prophet said that we prophets leave behind no inheritance," which is not true, because Fatima. I remember reading this that Fatima mentioned about what about Prophet Abraham for his sons, Isaac and Ishmael, and then Prophet Dawood or David for his son Solomon, and there are many other examples like that. So then she said that she told Abu Bakr that I will curse you till your death, something like that. I remember reading this a long time back. And then I'm sure you've seen the movie The Lady of Heaven. Abu Bakr, her most comfortable where she found the most comfort was a tree that she liked, and even that Abu Bakr took that away from her. Yeah.
Now the question could be, the $1,000,000 question would be,
yes,
there are serious unresolved issues between Shias and Sunnis when we don't know whether Uthman's killers were Ali supporters, or who is responsible for Prophet Muhammad's death, or even Hassan Hussein, who were the instigators of killing, the assassination or the starving to death, whatever the reason could be. So there are serious, difference of views, historical baggage. So we saw ongoing conflict between Catholics and Protestants in Ireland, especially Northern Ireland. I remember that not too long ago. That bloodshed, even Irish Republican Army were bombing, in England, and also their sectarian rift. Right now, coming back to this century, how we can say that Shia and Sunni can be united and become part of one religion instead of into, because Catholics and Protestants are not the same. And I have been to the Middle East, and I knew Christians in Middle East, especially it could be Arab Christian or Indian Christians. They would not, I'm talking about Protestants, they would not call the supporters or followers of Pope as Christians. They would say, call them Catholics. So in a sense, Catholics and Christians are divided. They are, I mean, they don't call each other Christians or whatever. In the Islamic world, how Shia Sunni can be a unified entity? My question.
As long as they have a common enemy.
So you're laughing. Are you pointing the finger to the current situation where
Yes.
Israel and USA versus Iran? So
I would say for the most part, yes. I would say mainly with the regime in Iran and the Sunni world, yes, they can be united against common enemies like the West. But I cannot think of myself at a time in history when Sunnis and Shias would be united against someone else. Because thing is, because they don't see eye to eye on almost anything. They disagree about Muhammad's life. They disagree about even regarding Aisha, because Sunnis believe that Muhammad married Aisha at the age of 9. Shias reject that. Shias believe that they got married when she was in her late teens, or and she was already a divorcee. And from the best of my knowledge, she was a divorcee before she married Prophet Muhammad. And I would not get into much details because it would get into a lot of personal, attacks on Aisha. Yeah, but yeah. So that is one, and so they don't have any. So that's one. They disagree on the age of Aisha when she got married. And regarding Omar, probably he is responsible for what we call racial segregation, and then the Umayyads picked up on that later on. Yeah, because Omar was very was more pro-Arab. Like he gave Arabs more, what do you call, privilege. Yeah, the same thing with even under the Umayyad dynasty, because in the hierarchy, the first would be the Arab Muslims, then the non-Arab Muslims, and then the rest, are infidels. Yeah.
So there is also then serious disagreement about the Miraj journey, that Prophet's, journey and on a Burak. And you said Shias believe that his ultimate destination was in Kufa, which is in
Kufa,
apparently
Iraq.
in Iraq.
Yeah.
But Sunnis believe it was Jerusalem. Number one. Number two, regarding the Palestinian issue, I think many Sunnis may have reasons for axe to grind about the Jews and all this, about Jerusalem, Al-Aqsa, and all this. Shias actually has no business in Al-Aqsa, as you said.
No,
And
no.
Al-Aqsa was built by the Umayyad people.
But the Al-Aqsa, the mosque that they call Al-Aqsa in Jerusalem, that was first commissioned by Umar, the second caliph, and then the Dome of the Rock was commissioned under what do you call, Abdul Malik ibn Marwan. Yeah.
So that is also has nothing to do with the Shiite people.
No.
Yeah,
Abdul Malik ibn Marwan, who was the caliph from 685 to 705, and the Dome of the Rock, the construction of the Dome of the Rock was completed in year 691. So for Shias, the third most holiest site after Makkah and Medina is Najaf, where Imam Ali is buried. Then comes Karbala. Then come all the shrines, and from the 11 imams, only the 8th imam was buried in in Iran, in Mashhad, Khorasan. Well, and a number of them, like the Imam Hassan, Imam Jafar Sadiq, and even Bibi Fatima, they were buried in Medina, and the rest were all buried, were all martyred and buried in what do you call in Iraq. Yeah, yeah.
So,
The shrine of Jannat al-Baqi in Medina was destroyed. In the early 20th century by the Wahhabi establishment.
so Iran's, current, I'm talking about current Islamic Republic of Iran's very much involvement with Al-Quds Brigade or Hamas, or basically bringing or empowering the Ring of Fire, quote unquote, around Israel. Do you consider it as a new phenomenon after in the post
1979? Yes.
In Iran, or it
Yes.
was prevalent before 1979?
No, it was never prevalent before 1979. In fact, that journalist whom I mentioned to you, that Iraqi-American journalist, Hussein Abdul Hussein, he said that that was alien to them. It's always been alien to them. Because, yeah.
So why suddenly this metamorphosis? Why the Shiite clergy like Ayatollah Khomeini or Khamenei,
And
or
Khamenei.
Pezeshkian, or even the, if you say current IRGC chief Ahmad Vahidi, they suddenly became so much anti-Israel and so much in favor of Sunni extremism encircling Israel.
Well, it's all because of the adoption of the Muslim Brotherhood ideology into the Khomeiniist ideology. It co-opted it, and Ali Khamenei, when he was in prison during the time of the last Shah, he was I think I mentioned in the other previously that he was reading In the Shade of the Quran by Sayyid Qutb. So that's where he got all his inspiration from. And the reason why they made Al-Quds Day, and since 2010, if my memory is right, why Ali Khamenei banned his fellow Shia Muslims from insulting central figures that are revered in Sunni Islam, is all because of appeasement with the Sunni world, especially the Islamists, especially the Islamists, because for them the common enemy is America, the big Satan, and Israel, the smaller Satan.
Nonetheless, we can see Shiite Iran, or I'd not say that.
Okay, Mr. Hassan.
Islamic, it's a Shiite Islamic or Islamic Republic of Iran, quote unquote.
Yeah,
which is basically a violent, basically a regime ruled country. So their target or their main objective is to encircle Israel and to create more like a Shiite region in the horizon and close to the Sunni Arab world. Okay. So far, we haven't seen two things. Like among Sunni Muslims population of the world, there's a tendency for conversion. We knew that Sunni Muslims tend to convert people in the Western world. Like you can see, as I mentioned probably in earlier conversation with you, Tony Blair's sister-in-law became Sunni Muslim, or the white British lady who went to Afghanistan, captured by the Taliban, and suddenly she found, heaven in the cave, and suddenly she became Sunni Muslim. You understand? So we don't know if Shias are like Jews or the Hindus, that you have to be born Shia. But I didn't see Shias clergies are trying best to convert white people to become Shia Muslims. Rather, Sunnis are very, very much, I can say, efficient in it. And not only that, conversion and what I call it, and creating a hegemonistic or supremacistic, enclave. You can say inside Western world, it could be Belgium, it could be UK or USA, and ultimately, final destiny is to capture White House or US Congress. These are all the playbooks of Sunni Islamists. We don't
Yes.
see that in the arena of Shiite, what I call it, narrative, or Shiite hegemonistic ideology. We see mainly it's encircling Israel. Do you
Yeah.
see this exact scenario, or or would you like to say that maybe the Shia Islamists someday would like to capture White House as well, like their Sunni brothers?
That is a very tough question, because thing is, when it comes to Shia Muslims, it's hard to say who is and isn't loyal, to the existing Iranian regime. Because thing is, Shias come from diverse backgrounds, just like the Sunnis. And you are right that Shias don't proactively go and seek converts, but because at the same time they do not believe in forced conversion. They believe that they can invite people, you know. With the message of Islam, but at the end of the day, it is the choice of the person who would like, whether he or she would like to accept Islam or not. They don't go actively, or like these evangelical Christians or these Sunni, Dawawists, as you would like to say. Um, yeah, because they believe that ultimately, the believer must accept religion from his heart rather than being forced upon it. Yeah, and I would say to some extent, the Shias do have a bad PR as well. I would say to some extent.
Like, we are running to the end of the show almost, but
Oh, really?
we have got,
We have hardly covered
we
anything.
have got at least I think 10 minutes to go at least. Okay. So
I'd like to mention something. I'd like to mention something about Jerusalem. How Jerusalem became the third holiest site in Sunni Islam was because during the time of the Umayyad Caliphate, there was another competing caliphate in Medina. So and the caliph, I forgot the name, the caliph's name in Medina that time. He forbade the Umayyads from from doing pilgrimage to Medina. So that's why they established Jerusalem as the third holiest site. The establishment of of Jerusalem as the third holiest site in Sunni Islam was started by Umayyads, and it never existed something like anything like this before the Umayyads. And even
so, and then, if the current Iranian regime vaporizes, a different form of government emerges, it could be secular or nationalist,
yes.
Persian civil government, who knows. So do you think that their affinity toward Jerusalem or ring of fire, that also will be vaporizing?
Yeah, I see that. I do see that, and as long as we don't have any current regime loyalists, because even among Shia Muslims in Iran, they're divided regarding the regime, and because thing is, when I participated in the pro uh, Iran rallies, that is pro Iran, that is of the for the free Iran rallies. That is, I have met all kinds of Iranians, whether they're non-religious, whether even Baha'is I've met, and even I've met Muslims as well, they're still Muslims, but they're for a free Iran as well. So and there are many clerics, Shia clerics in Iranian prisons. I'm sure you know that better than
Yes,
me.
right.
Yeah, there are more clerics in prison than in government, as your good friend Banafsheh Zand said. Yeah. So yeah, once like even what do you call the current crown prince Reza Shah Pahlavi II said. That as soon as Iran becomes free, Iran will immediately recognize Israel. Will return to its old friendship. So Yeah.
And I saw recently he was replying to a nonsensical question from a European journalist that he asked the
And he
crown
himself is a
prince,
Muslim, by the way. He himself is a Muslim.
yeah, crown prince you were talking. So he was asking crown prince if he is an asset
Yeah,
of
he
Israel.
himself is a Muslim.
Yeah, that journalist in Europe was asking the crown prince if he was an asset of Israel, and he gave the good answer that I'm asset of the people. And he said the relationship between the Jews and the Persians date back to Cyrus, long time ago, Cyrus the Great, and this is
Yes.
long before Pahlavi dynasty were in power. So anyway,
During biblical, since the biblical times,
biblical
yes.
time, that bondage is a different. It's a different story. So, but currently the Iranian regime are importing mercenaries from Lebanon, Iraq, Pakistan, and Afghanistan even. And
Yes.
so, and they're blind killers because they don't have any feeling for the Iranians. You understand?
No.
What I was told that many of the mercenaries were giving free checks. If they go to any restaurants or departmental store, they can buy anything for free. So it's a very horrendous situation now. So this is the situation in Iran. I was asking you, one question. If you can answer, it's up to you. You may not be able to answer because you are not living in Bangladesh for long, but you are of Bangladesh, basically ancestry, and your forefathers are from Bangladesh. You lived in Middle East and Canada for long, but you may know the Bengali mindset. But I tell you one thing: I've been following many of the Bangladesh YouTube channels, and I saw many of the YouTubers. They are not religious. Some of them could be agnostic. The guests could be living in London or in Canada or Toronto or some places. Some of them are not at all pro-Islamist, very much anti-Jamaat. In regard to Iran, USA, Israel conflict, 100% of the Bangladeshis I saw, Bangladeshi-born people living in the Western world, and many of them are quote unquote enlightened, not jihadi minded. Why they are so much supportive of the regime? Do you have any clue? Some of them don't like Jamaat. Of course, they support the execution of the war criminals, whom the many of the jihadis would call the Islamic scholar, Sunni scholar like Mujahid or Nizami. You understand? Who were hanged by Hasina government. They support that. I'm talking about Bangladeshi, those talkers or journalists. Why they wholeheartedly? The reason I want to say, because in many cases they can blame Trump. I said they have every right to blame Trump. Trump is basically a hot-headed mind, and he's uncertain, unpredictable. Tariff-wise, he was doing big talks and whatever, and he may exaggerate things. I agree. You have any blame you can give. Why they don't give an inch of criticism to the Irani regime? Why they don't say this is an Islamic fascist government and their hands are tainted with blood? 45,000 people at least they kill on the street. They don't give a single ounce of criticism. Why? Tell me the reason why.
That's well. That is a very good question. I believe they okay regarding majority of the Bangladeshis, whether they live in Bangladesh or they're or abroad, that is the Bangladeshi diaspora. They unfortunately, I would say, they live in their own bubbles. They mostly have a very anti-Western stance, uh, no matter how secular and non-religious they are. Especially those who have some who are Muslims or have some Muslim background, even if they're very secular and very non-religious. They are very prone to conspiracy theories, especially against the Jews, because thing is they believe it or not, because at the end of the day, because they grew up in Muslim backgrounds and Muslim environments, so they are influenced by such thought that is there, and it is very unfortunate and very tragic that they have said they showed no criticism towards the existing Iranian regime, like not once. Like there were massacres and genocides happening for over a month. you hear nothing. But the thing is, when it comes to Palestine, they're ready to bleed for Palestine. All of them, even not only just the these Muslims, but even these leftists and communists who may not be who may not have any kind of Muslim background at all, who may come from Hindu or background, they still will have very negative stance on the West and Israel, or anything they see as an enemy. It is very unfortunate. Yeah, because they live in their own ignorance and in their own bubble. I would say, yeah, they and they have not, and thing is, I'm sure you'd agree with me, Mr. Hassan. Bangladesh is, because they live in their own bubble. They don't mingle with people outside of their own community. They mostly don't. So how will they?
I agree with you, because my friends Kamran Nili and Hassan Mohaddam, they live in America. I have been, they are Iranian Americans. I've been in touch since 1983, and I try to get as much information as I can from them. Like I know one of my friends' brother is stuck in Tehran. So my friend said that there's Galibov, the guy who just resigned. He is the speaker, so-called speaker of the parliament, which is a so-called parliament in Iran. He online, actually on the record, he said a couple of years ago that he was responsible for throwing out from the rooftop, six-story rooftop, female student protesters, and that guy was a speaker of the parliament. But I don't think the Bangladeshi reporters, journalists, veteran journalists, or Bangladeshi YouTubers, they are aware of it, or they don't have of the mind to prove what's going on.
But you know, but
they're in a bubble.
Okay, they're in a bubble. But the only area where I would agree with my fellow Bangladeshis for not supporting, the secularists and supporting the existing regime, where they can be, legitimate, is because during 1971 Liberation War, unfortunately, the last Shah, he was not he was very controversial. Being a secularist himself, how could he support Pakistan over Bangladesh?
I know there are other reasons also. I would not be devil's advocate, but I knew that Pakistan was part of RCD, if you remember, and Pakistan was a pro-West. It's not a question of Islamic or non. Unfortunately, Pakistan was like then and now a puppet of America, and Iran was very much close to America. That could be the one. And maybe, but Shah, I heard from some sources that Shah tried to mediate between Mujib and Yahya. I heard it from during the war. Actually, I don't know how far it's true, but it was the call of the day. Actually, I mean, I would not blame totally, because he was part of RCD. Iran, Turkey, Pakistan were part of a group, and remember Seato, Cento, and all this pro-Western. Shah was pro-Western, but during 1971, it was definitely they made a historical mistake, which I don't really condone at all. But now let's go to the. Similarly, you have to remember, Mr. Yasser Arafat was not a friend of Bengali nationalists in 19.
Oh, no way.
You know that story, that Arafat was not in support of Bangladesh liberation. He
took 5 years to recognize Bangladesh.
Yeah. So we know. But anyway, we have to sum up. Maybe like I said. So it was nice talking to you, and Mr.
It was very unfortunate that there was a blackout of the
blackout, but we continued. But I think the Western analysts should know that there is a serious Shia-Sunni divide, and after the fall of that is extremist Iran, after the fall of the regime, there will be a different world, because.
Oh yes,
I think Shia Islam in general will not be a danger to the modern world or to the globe. Okay, and I think we have to end up very soon. And you have last word, Mr. Sharjeel Nishad.
Well, I'd like to say, since this was mainly about Iran and about the Sunni Shia divide, I'd like to mention that, you know, I'm not to the audience that that I, I'm not an expert on everything. So and whatever I'm asked to speak upon, I only give whatever knowledge I have within the best of my ability. So I do my best to be as I do my best to be as intellectually honest as possible. And regarding the Iranian people, like I said, you know, to the people of Iran and to the broader Iranian diaspora, I am with you at all times. This Bengal tiger is with all the lions of Persia. So, God willing, we will see Iran returning to its eternal glory. Baray Azadi, Baray Pirusi, Payande Iran.
Thank you so much. And I see the flag behind you. Okay. Bahay Azadi, Baharai Azadi. Okay. Long live Iran and long live Iranian people. So here I end. Thank you.